I'm really excited that you guys are going to spend the next hour with us here. The session might go a bit longer than originally expected, so just bear with us. So I want to quickly talk a little. So for the next hour, I'm going to do a quick round of introductions. I'm going to introduce my colleague here, Suraj. We also have our growth marketer, Christina, on the call, so I'm going to quickly introduce her as well. I'm going to when we saw the registrations, most of the people were new users, so we wanted to cover some of the basic functionality of EssayGrader, so you're not missing out. And then we will come to some of the latest attractions coming on EssayGrader in the next couple of months. I also cover what's new in the past two releases, EssayGrader 2.1 and 2.2, and my colleague here is going to cover 2.3. Then we have Hannah Jaspard. Hannah is our guest teacher today, who is going to present how EssayGrader has been saving time for her. And thank you, Hannah, for doing this for EssayGrader team and the entire teaching community at EssayGrader. Then we'll do a preview of upcoming innovations, and lastly, we'll do we'll talk a little bit about the EssayGrader advocacy program. To do a quick primer of what EssayGrader is, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the core functionality, but then I'm also going to take you through the latest innovations that happened in the past few months. And of course, I will show everything in a working demo as well. So custom rubrics, one of the standout features for EssayGrader is the ability to create or recreate your rubrics that you use in the classroom every single day. So this gives teachers the opportunity to grade essays on EssayGrader exactly to your curriculum standards. Everything is aligned to your state standards, your rubric standards, so you do not have to compromise any of those standards, just so that you can have an AI program grade your essays. We also are connected to Google Classroom, so now you can directly sync all the data from your Google Classroom into EssayGrader. In a few clicks, you can import classes, assignments, quizzes, everything from your Google Classroom into EssayGrader, grade them, and then in a few clicks, export all the information back to Google Classroom. We also have a very well-designed essay dashboard, which is a compilation of all the essays in your account. It is the place that you would go to review the essays. This is where you spend most of your time reviewing the essays, going through the feedback, editing the feedback, and then eventually exporting everything back to Google Classroom. We also have feedback reports. These feedback reports are basically the reports that are generated based on the essay written by the student. You will see a detailed feedback report on along with the grade. You see contextual feedback. You see a full-on grammar report on how the essay could be improved by the student. We also give an improvement plan, so it's fairly comprehensive. And then you can obviously export this to Google Classroom. And if you're using other LMS systems like Canvas, we also have an integration coming with Canvas in the next month. So what's new in 2.1? Like I said before, we have a seamless Google integration. Until 2.0, which was released in August, we only were able to import information from Google Classroom and grade them. But starting September, we are able to both import and export information from Google Classroom. Or import from Google Classroom and export it to Google Classroom. So we also have made it easier than ever to do AI detection for these essays. All you have to do is just go through the feedback reports and click a simple button, and it will run AI detection for your essays. I'm going to show you how that's done in a minute here. Instant chat support. Like I said before, we are a technology company that puts customers and teachers at the forefront of innovation. So if you have any questions, doubts, you can instantly chat with us through our app. We are going to show you how to access that chat as well. And we are FERPA compliant. I know this is a big deal for a lot of school districts in the U.S. So we are fully FERPA compliant, and we are also looking at getting certified with COPA. So what's new in 2.2? 2.2, we have introduced assignments. Assignments is a way for you to input um, writing prompt or instructions that you give the students, as well as the reading materials. So adding the prompt that you give your students, adding the source materials or the reading materials you give your students, along with the rubric that you design on our platform, is a comprehensive set of instructions that you're giving the AI model to say that this is how you grade the essay. You follow this rubric. These are the instructions that I gave the student. Check through the instructions to make sure the student has followed these instructions in the written submission. And ultimately, you are also giving AI very specific pointed context by giving them the reading material that they had to go through for the for writing the essay. So I'm gonna quickly take you through the program here. Just give me 1 second. So this is the first screen you would see once you log into EssayGrader. We have two floors, and soon we will have a third floor, that is integration with Canvas. Once that's done, you will go through this flow for Canvas integration. So what would you like to do? I'm going to start with uploading essays locally from my machine. So I'm going to click on Upload Essays. You're going to choose the class. Let's just create a class, grade 8. I'm going to just say demo class description. I'm just going to add period 2. And then I'm going to say 150 students. Or you know what? I'm going to just say 40 students. And then you're going to create the class. The class was successfully created. Then comes the time to create your assignment. As I mentioned before, this was a feature we released just about a month ago. And this is how you create your assignment. I'm going to add a title, book review. The assignment is about book review, The Night Circus. I'm going to choose the class that I just created, grade 8 demo class, or I could choose skip selecting class. I don't want to organize everything under one class. I'm just going to skip selecting a class. I'm just going to say grade 8 for now. So assignment instructions, right? This is where you select your instructions. I have some examples here that I have compiled for this demonstration. So this is our instructions. I'm going to copy. So basically, let's take a look at the instructions. Write an expository essay about the benefits of different kinds of housing. Your expository essay must be based on this prompt and topic, and it must be used to incorporate ideas and information found in the sources provided. So I'm going to copy paste the instructions that the teacher gave the student so that AI has full context on what the teacher has asked the student to do. And I'm also going to now add materials such as the source materials or the reading materials. So I'm just going to drag and drop those files. You only have to do this once. Once you set up your assignment, you're done. You don't have to do this every single time. So now I created my assignment. Now it's time for me to choose my rubric. So rubric creation is a bit of a process. I would say I would be the first person to say that it is a bit of a process to create a rubric, but the best way to get accurate results from EssayGrader is to recreate the rubric you use every day in your classroom. Again, you only have to set up the rubric once. We also have some innovations coming in how to optimize the creation of these rubrics, but for now, this is the process. Also, if creating a rubric is an impediment for any of you, or if you feel like you fully do not understand how to set up a rubric, send us a quick note, and I'm going to share my email address towards the end of the presentation, send it to me, and I will ask one of the support team members to set up the rubrics in your account. So let's go ahead, and I'm gonna actually create a rubric for demo purposes. Okay. Rubric name, grade 8 argumentation rubric. And then I'm going to set the grading intensity as easy, normal, or strict. So a little bit about grading intensity. We have, like I said, thousands of teachers using the product, and different teachers use the product differently. The easiest, the way, I'll give you a little bit of a backstory on how this grading intensity came about. When we first launched the program in December of last year, 2023, around January, February, when the grading spike happened, teachers would come and say, your program is grading a bit harsher than what I would grade my essays, because AI tends to grade a bit on the stronger side than what a human would do in most cases. So then we went to our AI engineer, Lydia, who you have seen on the slide, and we said, Lydia, what do we do? Like, how do we make the process easy for teachers, or the grading a bit less strict for teachers? So then we adjusted our prompts, and we did some prompt engineering. And then when we launched the update around March, teachers came back and said, well, now the grades are way too easy than what I would give the students. So then we decided, okay, so the innovation here is, we have 3 different levels, easy, normal, and strict, and let teachers decide, because different teachers within the same school district also grade differently. Even though they have a rubric, the judgment and the nuance that they carry along with the rubric is different for different teachers, and you can really customize your grading with the grading intensity options here. So now I'm going to go ahead and set up the rubric. Again, you only have to do this once, and if this is too much of a hassle for you right now, just send us a quick note with your rubrics, and we will set up the rubrics for you. Hi, Gary. Go ahead.
Sorry, Gary, I think you're muted.
Yeah.
Where do these rubrics come from?
Oh, that's a great question. So different schools have rubrics. If you're working with the school, most likely your school should be giving you rubrics, or from your state's Department of Education. For example, if you're a school district in Texas, most of them use STAR.
Okay. So you can import any rubric from anywhere.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yep. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. And then this is how you copy paste the rubric into the platform. And then you repeat the same process. You have multiple criteria. The next criteria is development. And I'm gonna just, like I said, it takes about 10 minutes for you to set up the rubric. Just be patient, because all you have to do is set it up once on the platform. So now I'm gonna adjust this grades for the rubric, and then you create the rubric.
And Chan, while you're here, do you mind demoing the chat portion as well, and how people can ask us for help with the rubric?
Yeah, that's a great point. So if you're a user of EssayGrader, all you have to do is simply come here and then send us a message. One of our support team member would be more than happy to help you. We try to give instant messages. We try to respond instantly. Or within few minutes if you're helping other teachers. In rare cases, though, we might take an hour or two to respond back. Remember that this chat is open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Okay, so now I'm gonna upload my essays here. Actual essays. Let me just, actually, you know what? Yeah, so that's how you just manually upload the essays to the platform. And so the loading bars here show that these essays are being graded by the AI platform. And just give it a minute. It takes anywhere between 30 seconds to about 2 minutes for a class of essays to be graded. Once the essays are graded, you will see that the loading bar here has stopped, and you will see you'll have a clickable link for that specific essay. So now if I click on this specific clickable link, hi, Gary.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Could you just do that again? Show how you upload the essays. And this is a batch upload, right?
Correct. This is a batch upload.
Yeah.
Are you do you use Google Classroom, or are you going
Some
to?
of our people do, yes, but not all.
Okay.
Some do.
Okay. So I will also take you through the Google Classroom flow.
But I just want to see how you got those
Yeah.
essays in there.
Yeah. So let me just go back. So if you have Google Drive or Google Classroom, or if you want to upload the files locally, just click there and go to wherever your essays are stored. In my case, my essays are stored on a folder on the desktop here. I'm just going to go to that specific folder. We have about 10 essays here. I'm going to just select all 10 of them, bulk select, and all of them have been uploaded. Sorry if I went through that step a bit faster.
Okay.
So that's how.
They're there. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Get out.
Greg, you had a question there.
Yeah, sort of more of a comment. I noticed with the rubrics as I've played around with it, because I was using like the multi-criteria rubric, like you just demonstrated, that takes kind of a while to create, like you said.
Yeah.
I noticed that if you create like just a criteria title like organization, and then one criteria descriptor with like what the highest grade would be, say it's out of 4 points or 10 points or however you want to use it, and just have one criteria descriptor, that the grader will still grade it pretty effectively with one criteria descriptor. Like I thought it actually modified the feedback in a more concise way. So it still would give it like a 7 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10.
Sure.
Putting like 4 criteria descriptors, like a 4, a 3, a 2, and a 1. Like sometimes,
I see.
Yeah. So I was really pleased with how it did that, instead of me having to put like all the separate criteria descriptors in there for one.
Sure.
Organization
And that's a good point, Greg. That's a good point that you brought up, right? That's why we have a simple rubric as well. We are so used to demonstrating complex rubrics, but sometimes we forget there are simpler things in the platform as well. So, Greg, to your point, all you have to do is just like enter the criteria titles and then set the scores, and that would also give meaningful feedback for you. We show advanced rubric because this is what most of our teachers use, and we automatically assume that that's what everyone wants to use. But that's a good tip. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so this is how the essays look with the rubric. I'm going to show you all the essays. So this is what the 10 essays that I uploaded. This is what the essays look like, right? You will see for the rubric that I created, there are 2 sections in the rubric: purpose and structure, and development, if you remember. So for all the 10 essays that I uploaded, EssayGrader has reviewed the student submission and then gave an analysis of the essay, and it assigns a score per criteria in the rubric. So there's purpose and structure and development. I gave 2 criteria, and the total of the rubric is 8 points, and then it gave 2 points. And then it also gives an overall summary of what went well. It gives a full error report on what is not good with the essay, if there are any grammatical mistakes. It also gives you the error, impact, and suggestion. So we don't just stop at showing what the error is. We also tell you what the impact of that error is and how it should be corrected. So a lot of teachers just hand these reports back to the student. And Hannah would also talk a little bit about this in her presentation. Teachers consistently say that after using EssayGrader for a couple of months, they see students' writing considerably being improved, and in some cases improved by whole letter grade. And we also, like I said before, we also give an improvement plan for the student writing, and this is the original essay that was submitted by the student. So this is the essay feedback report and error report. As I said before, in 2.2, version 2.2, we did a small innovation, which is running AI detection. You could simply click the button on the essay, and it will tell you how much of the essay was written by AI. In this specific example, there is 0% chance this text was entirely written by AI, and 0 sentences were likely written by AI. And if there are some essays here where I uploaded from ChatGPT, I would just ask ChatGPT to write an essay, and it would say that 100% written by AI, 21 out of 21 sentences likely written by AI. So that's another very handy feature many of our teachers use. Then let's go to the other flow. I'm going to really quickly show this flow to you because I also want to be cognizant of people's time because we started the webinar a bit late. I'm going to sign into and connect my Google Classroom to EssayGrader. So as you can see, those are. Now I'm going to choose the class. You can have multiple classes in your Google Classroom, and all of those classes will show up on your screen. I'm going to just choose History Medieval Period. Just click Next, Assignment. Choose whichever assignment you want to import from Google Classroom into EssayGrader. Choose that assignment. In this example, there's just one student. Usually you might have like over 30 students or 40 students per period. You select all the submissions, and then you click Next. You choose the rubric. And if you remember, I extensively showed you how to create an assignment and add writing prompt. It's the same flow in Google Classroom as well. You would also add instructions, writing prompt here, and you would add source materials here, if that is the flow that your teachers are taking. So I'm just gonna just say some random things here, and I'm gonna just say grade. And student assignments were imported successfully from Google Classroom and are now queued for grading. So this is the student assignment that is now imported from Google Classroom. Gary, I know you said some of your teachers do have Google Classroom, and this is how they would go through the flow. Do you have any questions here, Gary, in the Google Classroom flow? Okay, all right. Now let's look through the grading intent. Editing essay name. A very simple innovation, but teachers really appreciate this innovation is no matter how many times you tell your students to name their files correctly, they don't. They end up just saying essay.doc, right? Or they just say essay, my essay, .doc, like whose essay, right? So this is where you can simply just edit the essay name and save it. Okay, you can also regrade an essay with a new intensity. You just click on regrade, and then you select the grading intensity, easy, normal, or strict, and all you have to do is just click regrade, and that essay will be regraded at a different grading intensity. Suraj is also going to show you our redesigned dashboard here. There are a lot of innovations in this dashboard that will be released in the next couple of days. So I'm not going to spend too much time showing you those innovations. So filter by class name. Yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff here. Now let's show you how to export everything back to Google Classroom. I showed you how to import your
Ken, just a quick
submissions.
note here. This
Yes.
is changing slightly in the new version, so I can handle this part if you like.
Okay,
the
sure.
exporting flow.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, so now we have essays, graded essays. You can, one other thing that I wanted to mention is for convenience, teachers can change the status of the essay from ready for review to reviewed once they go through an essay and approve it. Obviously, we always recommend teachers to be part of the feedback loop. We do not ideally want teachers to just grade these, download the files, and send it to the students. We want teachers to be a part of the feedback loop, go through the feedback reports, make sure AI isn't making any mistakes. They do happen rarely. As AI gets smarter, maybe in another year, you don't have to you may not have to review these reports, but for now we would recommend that you review these feedback reports before handing off to the student, because the last thing that we want is giving an incorrect grade to the student. So exporting PDF, this is something that I think many of you would appreciate. So if you're exporting these feedback reports into a PDF document, you can hide grades. And this is important because sometimes teachers do like doing multiple rounds of revisions with essays. They don't just give out grade the first time. So they give just the feedback report, error report, and ask the student to correct the essay. Once all the revisions are made, the essays are submitted back to EssayGrader. EssayGrader grades them again. And the second time around, the teacher actually goes through the feedback reports, grades to make sure everything is accurate. And then they export the feedback. So that's also something, it's a teacher innovation that directly came from our teaching community. Now I'm going to hand off to Suraj for a quick demo of what we will be releasing, I think, in the next 24 to 48 hours. There's some really cool things in there as well.
All right, thank you, Shen. And now I get to do the fun part of the webinar, which is show you some things that we worked on that we're about to release. So the first thing I'd like to show you is handwriting recognition. So one of a common request from teachers was, can you grade handwritten papers that students are just writing by hand? And so we've been testing this functionality out and are now confident in releasing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a few papers that were written by students that were handwritten, select a rubric. Yep, this looks good. And I'm going to hit grade. And while these are uploading, I'll show you an example of what one of these handwritten essays looks like. So this is an AP essay written by, this is a sample AP essay written by a student. And as is typical, it's not always easy to read by a human, but let's see how AI does with reading it. So this one has about 5 pages. And when it's read by our AI, it gets converted into plain text. So this might also make your life easier because now you can actually read what the student's saying, and it's able to do a good job of converting this handwriting into text. So this one's about penmanship through history, and I think I'm looking at the right essay. No, this is the wrong essay. Let me go back and pull up the right essay. And it's able to do a good job of converting the sentences to text. So like you can see here, penmanship is a practice that has held true throughout centuries of world history. AI is able to pick up on that and separate by paragraphs pretty well.
Next to each other, can you? I just wanted audience to.
I can. I'm trying to figure out how to do that because I'm just sharing the window.
Just do a split screen and then just keep them next to each other, I think.
Sure. Let me try that. Give me 1 second.
Sorry for throwing a curveball at you.
Yeah, this might show you a much bigger screen. So are you able to see it okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think we have a question.
Yeah, Gary has a question.
Yeah, this piece of handwriting is pretty good. It looks a lot better than my handwriting.
Yes.
Do you have an example of a lousy handwritten paper?
So
go ahead, Chan.
Can I just go ahead and answer that?
Sure.
We have done about we have ran about 150 essays that were written by hand that were available on the internet, and some of them came from our teaching community. And I would say that about 80% of them, AI had no problem. It was able to decipher everything that was written and convert it into text. And the remainder of the 20%, the golden rule there is if you have trouble understanding that handwriting, most likely AI will also have trouble understanding the handwriting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Chan.
It couldn't do mine then.
We don't know that. We'll have to give it a test. So
yeah, we don't know
send
that.
us a sample. We can.
I can't even read my own handwriting.
If you send us a sample, we'll run it through EssayGrader and we can tell you.
So while I was uploading files, you might have noticed here that the dashboard looks different from what Chan showed you, and that's because it is. Not only have we made it look slightly better, we've added a lot of tools here that teachers have been asking for. So in the past, you could only filter essays by the essay name, but now you can also filter by students, for example. So if I want to find all essays written by Emily, I can now do that. And additionally, there's a few more filters here, like the graded date range. So for example, if you want to look for all recently graded essays or essays graded last month, you can easily filter by those as well. Some of the other benefits with this new dashboard is that you can now perform bulk actions on essays. So for some reason, if you need to delete essays, you can now delete essays in bulk, and it gives you a warning, which is great. And you can also export essays in bulk. So one thing Chan mentioned was exporting to Google Classroom. So I'll show you how to do that. So typically, a teacher might export one assignment at a time. So I'm going to choose an assignment here, the same one that Chan was demoing earlier, called a book review on the Night Circus. And I'm going to select all the assignments. And I have a few more assignments that aren't on this page. And I can click this to select everything that matches this search. And now I can go ahead and export this to Google Classroom. So it will show me a preview of the essays that are going to be exported. And if some essays cannot be exported because they were not imported from Google, it will tell you that here on the screen as well. So I'm going to go ahead and export everything. I can also choose to hide grades here, similar to the PDF export. So if for some reason you don't want to export the grades, but just want the qualitative feedback, you can choose to hide grades. You can go ahead and click export. This could take a few seconds to a few minutes. This is our staging environment, so it's a bit slower than our main production environment. And then the assignments will be exported to Google Classroom.
Suraj, can you show an example of what the feedback report would look like?
Absolutely. Yep.
On the essay, yeah.
So let me go to an example. So this is an example of an essay that was submitted to Google Classroom. And what happens when you export feedback is that we add a separator and a date, and then we provide EssayGrader's feedback under it. So here, this was exported, I think, a couple days ago when I was testing, and it puts the feedback here, including the grades. And then I did a few other exports as a test. And so there's multiple exports in this one doc, but every time you export, it adds the date that the feedback is being exported. Okay, so one more thing you can do is before earlier Chan showed you how you can download PDFs one at a time. We'll be adding the ability to download PDFs for your whole class or multiple essays at a time as well. So this works the same as before, just like Chan showed you. It exports the essay along with our feedback report attached to it. Okay, and one more feature that some of our teachers have asked us for is the ability to export to CSV. So sometimes they have to manually enter the grade in a different platform. So we've added this functionality where you can choose what to export in a CSV format. And this makes the data easy to process. So for example, I'll show you a sample CSV I exported. So this is a sample CSV file I exported, which has the student grades, the names of the assignments, as well as the rubric used. And this lets me make custom charts for the class, for example, to see what grade ranges my students are falling into.
That's amazing.
Yep. I think those were all the features I wanted to demo. Did I miss anything, Chan?
No. I think that was really comprehensive. I just want to take a pause here and ask, we showed some very interesting features here, somewhat advanced. Are there any questions from the audience? Do you have any thoughts? Hi, Greg.
Yeah, for the handwritten one, maybe I missed when you said it, but is it just basically scan them into your computer? Is that how we're getting them in there?
Correct.
So scan them and then just upload them like you would any other essay? Upload the files?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Some teachers have asked us about, so the way they scan their essays is they'll scan a whole batch at once into one big file. We don't quite support that yet, but we're looking into how we can support a file like that where every page might be a different essay or something like that. So if you have any ideas on how to do that, let us know, because we're trying to figure out how to tell which essay is, like when a new essay starts and when the old one ends, things like that.
Yeah. And Greg, the other, I don't know, Suraj, if you want to mention this, but there is also teachers that said that all they really want to do is just use their phone. And they said that I just want to take a picture of the essays on my phone and then upload them. Can you do that? And we can absolutely.
Yeah, so we're experimenting with a way to just let you take pictures and upload them that way. We're just testing that out. So once it's ready, we'll probably add a box here which says, instead of my device, you could use your camera and just take pictures of essays with your phone. So the way that would work is you would log into EssayGrader using your phone and then take pictures of student essays. So instead of using a scanner, you could use this app to take take pictures of the essays and upload them that way.
Okay. All right. Suresh, are you done showing your part?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Now, the star of the show. Thank you so much, Hannah, for being so willing to present your story to our audience here. And we are going to fix our technical issues, and hopefully we'll have a much larger audience like the previous webinar next week for our next month's webinar. So let me just go and open up your presentation.
Thank you, Chan.
Yeah.
And I do not mind the small crowd today at all.
Yes. Hannah is also preparing for a big presentation, and this was her. Yeah, I'm not going to go there.
It's a small crowd, but distinguished.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and
just
get started then while you're looking up the slides. But anyway, my name is Hannah Jaspard. I am an English teacher at Bolsa Grande High School, a Title I school in Southern California. It's actually in the heart of Little Saigon in Garden Grove, California. It's about a 10-15 minute drive from Disneyland, if that gives you any perspective. I've been teaching at my school for 28 years, so I'm closing in on retirement here. And for the past few years, I've been teaching AP English language and composition all day. I have 5 periods of it, so 150 students. And outside of teaching English, I also serve as a table leader and a reader for the College Board each summer when I score the AP exam. Well, just a little background about my teaching. In all my years of teaching, it's become almost a broken record hearing teachers say, oh, the students are getting worse and worse, or this is the worst group of students I've ever had. And well, after COVID, that's no longer hyperbolic speech, is it? These really are the worst few years of students I've ever had. And following COVID, teachers have been asked to show more grace, more leniency, and some have adjusted their teaching to incorporate more group work, fewer assignments, more classwork, fewer homework. And sadly, some have taken it as far as assigning fewer essays. I have students in my AP class this year who told me that they wrote one essay all last year, and it wasn't even graded. So, well, I don't know if it's because I teach AP and I feel compelled to prepare them for this 3-hour exam that's comprised of 3 different essays, or if it's simply my very competitive nature to have a high pass rate. But I see the poor quality of writing as a need to make the students write even more. They need the practice. They need to know how to organize their thoughts. They need to know how to express these thoughts, and they need to understand what they read and respond to them, if not, at least in a comprehensible way, if not in a sophisticated way. And by the time they leave my class, my goal is that they should not only be able to produce a variety of written works, but also not be afraid to write. For me, that's why I love teaching AP English, because I get to put together basically my own curriculum that engages students to read, to think critically, to write, and to not fear writing. What I don't love about teaching AP, however, is grading essays, obviously. And that's where, or how my relationship with EssayGrader began. One day, not too long ago, I was sitting at my desk, frustrated with the pile of essays and exams I had staring back at me, almost mocking me, And I queried AI very indignantly if there were any AI essay grading programs out there, and which one it would recommend for me. Well, guess which one came up number 1? So of course I had to give it a try. I signed up, looked up my credit card, all that, eager to see what this app had to offer. Well, after playing around with it for, I don't know, a couple of days or so, I decided it wasn't for me, because it didn't have things that were specific for me as an AP teacher. So I contacted EssayGrader by email to ask for a refund. And almost instantly, I received a response asking for some feedback, as it was a startup company that really wanted to know how it could improve for teachers like me. Be careful when you ask an English teacher for her opinion, right? Because of course I gave it an English teacher's very thorough review and explanation as to why it didn't work for me specifically. But surprisingly, instead of getting an automated response or no response, which is exactly what I expected, I received yet another email back thanking me for my candid critique. And furthermore, the CEO wanted to know what else I would like to see incorporated into the program to help teachers, and even offered to chat with me in a Google Meet. Well, now several Google Meets later, that very CEO, Chan, has easily become one of my favorite random persons I've met in my life. There have been some major improvements to the program, and continuing changes that have really made things easier for me, such as the collection of AP rubrics available and that they're willing to upload for me, the instant feedback to the entire class, the AI and plagiarism check, and there's always more to come, it seems. And Chan has a list, an ongoing list of requests from me for even further improvements, of course. Anyway, I'd like to share how I use EssayGrader. I have 5 sections of AP language. That's 150 students. And it takes me about 3 weeks, or at least 3 weeks, to get all the essays graded and back. More realistically, oh, go ahead, Gary. I would have been sad if you didn't ask me any questions.
Now, Hannah, how long does it take you to grade a paper?
For me, I am a very thorough grader. It takes me about 20 minutes to grade one essay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Anyway, idealistically, it would take me 3 weeks to get back 5 sections of essays, but more realistically, it's like 4 weeks, right? And this is the 13th week of our school year, and I've already assigned 7 essays, 3 of which were graded by EssayGrader, 4 graded by me, and the students are submitting an essay tonight, a research paper tonight. So anyway, you can see the burden of grading all these essays. But, you know, aside from essays, as English teachers, you all know that essays aren't the only assignments that we have. We have speeches, we have projects, homework, classwork assignments that are always written responses, and we have quizzes. My quizzes are a paragraph response for each question. But, you know, despite all that, I can't have my students writing 1 essay a month, right? When they have to write 3 different kinds of essays for the AP exam. They simply need the practice. And ideally for me, they should be writing an essay, even if it's just a 1 full page response, once a week. But how would I ever find the time to, you know, eat and sleep and drink and be merry with this practice? I think I'd simply cut to the chase and just die. So that's where EssayGrader comes in. I use it as an aid. I don't know how other people use it, but I use it as an aid that allows me to have them write 40-minute essays more frequently. And then they get a score, not a grade, but they get a score, an AP score, along with the feedback for improvements. And that's as quickly as by the end of the evening or even by the end of the school day. The first time I used EssayGrader this year, I had students meet with me one-on-one afterward to go over their essays and the feedback from EssayGrader to make sure that they all understood what they did wrong and how to fix them for the revised essay, which I then ran through EssayGrader again to check for improvements, and they did for the most part. But I use that as a red flag when the improvement isn't that great. And that allows me to look more closely at those individual students to see what they're struggling with to help them individually. And I plan to play around with EssayGrader more and to see what works best for my students. But so far the feedback has been fantastic. They appreciate the fact that I still grade their essays, but that EssayGrader allows them more opportunities to practice writing for lower stake scores and an opportunity for revision before I look at them. So in short, I love the fact that there's a program out there that helps me help my students. And it helps me to continue loving my job. Thankfully, it's not something that replaces me, at least not yet, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, you said opportunity for revision. So the student feeds his own essay into the program and then looks at the critique and tries to fix it, and then gives it to you.
No, they submit it into Google Classroom.
Yeah,
And then I submit the whole entire classroom at once, and it takes about 2 minutes to get the feedback for the entire class.
right.
And then I do the release so that they get the feedback, and they read that, and then I give them a few days to look at the feedback, read the feedback, and then revise their essays before they submit it again for me to grade.
Got it. Thanks.
Yep. I had a couple of, thank you so much. That was a wonderful story. And Hannah, and when I asked Hannah if she could do a small 10-minute talk for us on this webinar, she was so gracious. She accepted it. And then all I said was, you don't need, we are not selling anything on this webinar. This is purely an educational webinar for existing users and potential prospects that would join the call. And I said, speak your heart out. I think that was like my one ask, and I said, yeah, just say what you want to say. And we just met once, and we just so that we can adjust the slides. And thank you, Hannah. That was really nice. And I do have a couple of questions from your presentation, though. You said that you still grade essays, right? Why do you do that? You have EssayGrader. Why don't you just upload everything to EssayGrader and grade them?
That's a good question, Jan. Well, part of my success as a teacher, and I've been doing this for 28 years, part of my success as a teacher has been my connection with the students. And I feel that if every essay was graded by AI, I would lose that very valuable connection. I need to see that students are applying what I'm teaching in class. The use of semicolons, so the use of, dashes, rhetorical questions, anaphora, etc. And I need to be able to put in my very messy red ink, bravo, great job, well done, next to it, And I'm a teacher who still puts stickers on students' quizzes, okay? And the students love it. Even my big burly football players. I mean, if I forget, God forbid, if I forget a sticker on a football player's quiz, I would, he'd be up at my desk in 2 seconds. And I don't ever want to be replaced by AI. I simply want AI to aid me in being a better teacher for my students.
That's fantastic. Sorry. Gary, you seem like you have more questions. Go ahead. I'll wait for my turn.
I don't think you have anything to worry about, Hannah.
Oh.
Yeah. My question there, Hannah, or rather a statement is, I just heard a really cool feature idea that I'm going to tell my engineers after this webinar. I'm going to send them an email. I think we should add stickers to essays. You should tell, right? Like once you grade the essay,
Yes.
and you can actually add a sticker to the essay.
I think it's a great idea. I love it.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, so no, that makes sense. I mean, as a teacher, you want to have the personal connection. And Gary or someone asked me, like, you have 60,000 teachers. How do you support all of them? The naked truth is, a lot of the school districts purchase the product, and it is an uphill battle for us to make sure the teachers use the product, and a lot of training sessions and like consistent communication with teachers showing the benefits of using a program like this. And we are getting better every month. Our usage keeps going up and up and up and up, right? Teachers are still a bit worried that a program like this might replace them. And that could not be farther from truth. It is never going to replace the nuanced judgment a teacher brings to the table. AI is so far away, and we don't even know if AI will ever get to human level intelligence. This is just a teaching aid, and it should be used as such. And that's another reason why we want teachers to be part of the feedback loop.
Mm-hmm.
Suraj, you had a question there.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, yeah, this is not a replacement. This is more, it's trying to automate all the boring work so that you can focus on quality time with your students. So the hope here is that This will take care of all the a lot of the grunt work, like finding semicolon mistakes, spelling errors, commas missing, and you can focus on a lot of the higher level work by using this kind of as a springboard to spend more quality time with your students. So that's one use case we've seen, is that teachers are able to spend more time conferencing with their students and building a relationship and focusing on meaningful personalized feedback. And EssayGrader takes a lot of the menial tasks and does that work for you.
Thank you, Suraj. Jorge, I hope I said your name right.
Yeah, you can call me George. That's okay.
George. Okay.
That's fantastic. Just a couple of quick questions. The first one is a bit more technical, but I was under the impression that you could actually upload your own personal rubric and ask AI to actually help you. I joined late. I was in another meeting, and so I joined the meeting late. I don't know if you already spoke about that. I guess you guys are recording it, so maybe we'll get a copy of the recording. If that is the case, you don't have to answer because I watched the video.
And George, that's a good question. I'll actually cover it in the next few slides. I haven't covered that specific question yet.
Oh, okay, perfect. So that's okay. So the next question is more like towards the end. I'll raise my hand and ask again. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, Hannah. Once again, we really appreciate you spending some time here. I want to close out the session fairly quickly because we are already 15 minutes over. Let me just go back to the remainder of the slides here. Hi, Gary.
Jan, have you already gone through pricing?
I can definitely take you guys through pricing as well. If you guys don't mind, just stay online for a few extra minutes.
Sure.
And then I can take you through the pricing as well.
Yeah, good.
Because I don't think many of the users would benefit from it.
Okay.
I know you're a prospect, so. Sorry. So what's coming soon? So far, just to give a quick summary of what we have done, I showed you all the innovations that came in the past couple of months or past couple of releases since our last webinar in the beginning of September. We showed you the basic functionality of EssayGrader, what's new in 2.1, what was released in 2.2. And now Suraj also showed you the yet to be released functionality that's being released in the next 24 to 48 hours, including handwriting recognition, downloading feedback into CSV files, bulk delete actions, so on and so forth. So that's all past now. Now we are going to look into the future. So what's coming soon? There's some more exciting stuff that's coming here in the next month or so. So this is 2.4. I will pause there. We haven't decided on the release number yet. It could be a different number than 2.4. So rubric library. So we are going to collect all the rubrics, and one of the fun things that I have been doing for the past week, along with an intern, is collecting all the rubrics by state in the US. That's publicly available, and we let teachers also upload their own rubrics. So we are going to compile everything, and we are going to release this. Hopefully, we'll try not to release anything before Christmas. If it gets too close to Christmas, this will be either at the end of November or in January. So we're going to release a library of rubrics. We're also going to allow teachers to create a rubric and share it with their entire school district. So if everyone that has the same domain name in their email address, they can share it with all of them. There is also some other cool innovations that are coming up there. George, this is your question. Building a rubric based on an AI prompt. So we are also going to allow teachers to enter a simple prompt with AI saying that build with AI. And you would just say, build me a rubric for grade 8 medieval history assignment. And this is the assignment. You just tell what the assignment is and ask AI to build a rubric for you. Or start from scratch is the option that we showed you, which I still think is the most efficient, accurate option. upload or import. This is also coming in the next month, where you could upload a rubric PDF and AI will set up the rubric for you on EssayGrader. Again, I would like to say a few things here. As cool as that sounds, we are already testing that feature, and some of that depends upon the quality of the PDF document you're uploading and how the rubric has been created. If it is not a level-based rubric, AI will have some trouble setting it up. So, but uh, all of that is to say that you have more options coming up for rubric setup. George, do you have any questions on this slide?
No, not really. Thank you.
Yeah. And redesign feedback reports. As I showed you before, we have our feedback reports in a vertical format. So we show all the feedback report, then the grade report, and then the essay. We are changing that structure. We are really upping the game here. We are going to do a side-by-side panel where you could review the essay as well as the feedback report and the error report right next to it. You could also see the color-coded suggestions. We are going to introduce additional colors based on the suggestions we give the student. So all of this is to really improve the user experience for both the teacher and the student. Then we have a grade. Then we are also going to introduce flags. Sorry, before flags, plagiarism detection. Plagiarism detection is a new feature that isn't in the platform yet. So as we have AI detection, teachers started asking if we could also do plagiarism, because students not only just go to AI like ChatGPT, they could also plagiarize from other student essays. So the plagiarism detection will help you with that issue. We will introduce flags, and a flag will be assigned to the essay. For example, in this specific essay, there are 3 flags: detected AI usage in the essay, and then it shows what the detection summary looks like, and shows all the sentences written by AI. If you click on that hyperlink, it shows the sentences written by AI, and also detected plagiarism in the essay. All you have to do is click on the plagiarism, and then it shows the where the essay was copied from. So in the specific example, this student has copied the essay from Chelsea Winter's essay. So so that's also coming in the next month. And yeah, so plagiarism detection, auto AI detection. Oh yeah, and lastly, Paula, I think you did ask us about this. We are also launching an advocacy program as we are trying to streamline as the company is growing. It is also getting a bit hard for us to get all the feedback, streamline the feedback. So we are trying to release an advocate program. So these core advocates we will take all the features and put it in front of these core advocates and say, let's debate. We need a sort of a think tank within the company that's a group of teachers at different levels. So really, it's a simple program. What are the qualifications? A love for teaching, passionate about making the lives of students and teachers better. We meet once every month. You have to just meet with us once every month for an hour, and just a love for the product. I think we are creating a beautiful product, and teachers are going to really thank us. When you look at big companies like Turnitin and all these, you don't get the level of customization or feedback or input, any of that, like you do from us. And that's where we are really shining, and teachers just love us for that reason. So yeah, what do you get out of the advocacy program, right? You get to have a direct impact on the future of EssayGrader. You also get to name the features, right? As long as EssayGrader is there, and we hope that would be forever, and you get to name your features and represent EssayGrader events and conferences. You also get some cool t-shirt and swag, and also access to the EssayGrader advocate community. So people like Hannah, people like Sammy, and we have so many of Hannahs in the company right now that constantly are talking to us, and we plan on bringing each of them to a different webinar. But we want all of the passionate people to come together so that we can make more magic.
Are
yeah,
are those folks paid?
No, Hannah, are you paid? No.
No, but we love sharing our opinions for free.
Yeah. just for the benefit of EssayGrader and the teaching community. I think people are just passionate because this is a real burden. We didn't realize how big of a problem grading was for teachers until we started this.
Yeah.
And we are just getting started, right? As AI gets more and more intelligent, there's no reason we couldn't do this for math and science and chemistry and so on and so forth. So we do have ambitious plans.
Yep. Yep.
That's it, guys. Thank you so much for being so patient with us. And Hannah, thank you for staying on the call, doing the demonstration for our teachers. I do want to say that just stay on for a couple more minutes. Suraj is going to give a link, a quiz link. If you fill out the quiz, you'll have an opportunity to win a $50 gift card right on the call right now. And Suraj, if you don't mind, just share the link with everyone. Thank you, Suraj.
I just shared a link to it.
Suraj, and I mean, your name is EssayGrader, but obviously that's not your
Chan.
name. You're not.
Sorry, George. Yeah.
So at the end, when everybody stepped out, would it be possible for me to have a brief conversation with the two of you?
Yes, absolutely. If you don't mind, can you stay for a few more minutes after Gary left? Because Gary is asking for some pricing details.
I don't mind.
Okay, perfect.
Sounds good. Chan, I've shared a link to the survey. So if you want to go over pricing details with Gary now, you can. Well,
I want Gary and Paula to also have an opportunity to fill the survey.
It. Perfect. That makes sense.
Suraj, you can take the exercise of announcing the winner. I don't have access to the back end of the phone.
Sounds good. I'm just waiting for a few more responses. I think folks are still filling it out.
Hi everyone, I'm Christina. I help with the marketing at EssayGrader. While we're all waiting, I'm just going to drop some social media links. And I want to share that if you do give us a follow, we're going to also be doing some promotions for the holidays on social media. We're also sharing some tips and some new releases and everything there. So I've just dropped all of the links there as well.
Thank you, Christina. That was good. I totally forgot about that. We just started social media just about a month ago, so it's fairly basic still, but we're gonna like really grow our channels. We were so hyper focused on product. Now is the time to really make some noise and tell everyone about what great of a product EssayGrader is. And yeah.
Yeah, so the links are there if you guys want to give us a follow. Yeah, we share a lot of fun content, but as Chen said, we're just getting started. But we will be doing a fun promotion for the holidays as well.
I will just give everyone another 30 seconds. Suraj, do you have the results?
Yeah, I was just going to say, does anyone need more time to fill out the survey? Okay, in that case, I can pick a winner. Just give me 1 second. All right. So I just have the emails here, so I don't have your name, but the email was pparis@JFY. So congratulations, and we'll reach out to you right after the webinar to get you a gift card. So
Hey, I think that's Paula. So
yes,
Cool. Yes, it is. I'm
She,
excited.
awesome. Congrats.
Yeah.
she should get a free trip to Toronto.
I have,
Nice.
hopefully
I
we'll
have-
become big
I-
enough and we'll
I
start
have
having
family
in-person.
in Toronto.
Nice, nice. Whereabouts, Paula?
We're up in the Boston area.
Oh, okay. Okay. Very nice. Okay. All right. That's it. Thank you again so much, everyone, for joining the call, and we hope to see you in the future webinars. But for now, it's a thank you and goodbye. But Gary, Paula,
Gary's
and
gonna
George.
stay. Yeah, we're gonna stay on.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Hannah.
Nice to meet it. Nice to meet everybody. Nice to meet you, Hannah.
Yes, Hannah.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thanks, dear. Thank you.
You too.